Hi there. My name is Jenny, and I'm a student of English literature. Today, I want to share a personal story with you, one that takes you through my journey of learning English, living in London, and meeting some amazing people along the way. Let's get started, shall we? It all began on a bright summer day. I was on a train traveling through the beautiful English countryside. Sitting across from me were two women chatting away in English. I tried my best to understand, but I was still a beginner. They were speaking so quickly, and there were so many words I didn't know. But I wasn't shy. I smiled and began speaking to them in my basic English. The women were so kind. They understood what I was trying to say, and they even encouraged me to keep learning. They were from England and had just returned from a conference. We chatted for about 10 minutes, and before I left, they gave me their phone number and invited me to visit them in England. It was such a wonderful experience. That moment on the train sparked something inside me. I wanted to learn more. From that day on, I dedicated myself to improving my English. Every single day, I translated texts and watched films in English. 6 months later, my English had improved significantly, but I wasn't satisfied. I wanted more. So, I made a big decision I was going to London to study English in the city itself. When I arrived in London, I immediately joined a language school. My first class was on a Monday, and I couldn't wait to meet my teacher and classmates. Our teacher was young, warm, and full of energy. We introduced ourselves, and she quickly made us feel at ease. She then asked us about our general knowledge of English. After listening to us, she told us something unexpected. She said she had a simple and effective method to teach English, a method where we wouldn't need textbooks or endless studying. Instead, she encouraged us to use English in our daily lives as much as possible. Now, this was exciting for me because, honestly, I wasn't too fond of learning from textbooks. They confused me more than they helped. Our teacher explained that learning a language wasn't just about memorizing words and grammar, it was about communication. Language is a tool, she said, a way to express your thoughts and ideas. The best way to learn a language is to use it to speak it, hear it, and live it every day. This approach made so much sense to me. Instead of focusing on memorization, I started focusing on using English to express myself, and I loved it. During the lesson, we talked about our hobbies and what we like to do in our free time. We practiced speaking with each other and with our teacher, and I could already feel my confidence growing. This way of learning was working for me. I was really enjoying it. The simple yet effective approach allowed me to feel more comfortable using English without feeling overwhelmed. Speaker 2? The next day, I returned to school with a fresh excitement for learning. One of the students in the class asked a question that really interested me. She asked our teacher, "What's the best way to learn new vocabulary?" Our teacher smiled and explained that while there are many ways to learn new words, the most effective method, statistically speaking, is reading. She emphasized that people who read regularly learn new words twice as fast as those who don't. She encouraged us to read for at least 30 minutes every day.
But she didn't stop there.
She explained that reading should be enjoyable. She said it's crucial to pick a book or text that interests you because when you enjoy reading, learning becomes a natural and fun experience. She also advised us to choose books at our level, something not too difficult or too easy. And when we came across a word we didn't understand, she suggested looking it up in a dictionary. You don't need to write it down, she said. Just finding the meaning is enough to lock it into your brain. Over time, the more you see that word, the more familiar it becomes. I found this method very effective, and I knew I would start applying it right away. We spent the rest of the class discussing different topics, including life in England and the types of jobs available for students like me. This was important because I wanted to find a part-time job while I was in London. After class, I asked some of my classmates for advice on where I could find work, and they suggested I visit the local job center. Excited, I headed there after school. At the job center, I wasn't sure what kind of job I wanted. So, I asked the lady behind the desk for advice. She told me they had a few good jobs for students. I could either work as a cleaner or a waitress in a cafe. I didn't have any experience with either job, but she said my English was good enough to work in the cafe. Plus, it would give me more opportunities to practice speaking English with customers. That sounded perfect. I was hired on the spot and would start work on Thursday. I was thrilled to have a job where I could both earn money and improve my English at the same time. The following day, I went back to school and was eager to continue learning. One of my classmates, a quiet young man from South Korea, raised an interesting question. He said he had trouble with his pronunciation and asked our teacher how he could improve. He explained that he watched English films and understood a lot, but when it came to speaking, he struggled with how the words sounded. Our teacher introduced us to a technique called shadowing. This method involves listening to native speakers and mimicking their speech in real time, almost like being their shadow. She showed us a video on YouTube that demonstrated the technique, and then we practiced it in class. I found this method incredibly helpful, and I could already see how it would improve my pronunciation over time. Later that day, I asked the lady at the school reception if there were any sports activities available. I was happy to hear that there was a football team and their training was later that evening. I joined the team and met players from all around the world: Brazil, Japan, Russia, Spain, Argentina, and Italy. It felt amazing to be part of a multicultural group, and I made new friends instantly. On Thursday, I went to school again, and this time we had a new student in our class. Her name was Elizabeth, and she was from Italy. Our teacher knew her from a class the previous summer. Back then, Elizabeth had only attended for 2 weeks as a beginner, but now her English was fluent and her pronunciation was fantastic. The teacher was so impressed, and Elizabeth explained that she hadn't attended any more classes after those 2 weeks. Instead, she practiced at home using techniques she had learned in class, like reading, shadowing, and thinking aloud. Now, I had heard of the first 2 methods, but thinking aloud was new to me. Curious? I asked our teacher to explain it. She told us that thinking aloud involved verbalizing your thoughts in English as you go about your day. Instead of thinking silently in your native language, you switch to English, saying simple sentences aloud. It helps you become more comfortable forming sentences and speaking naturally. Elizabeth shared her experience, saying that when she first started, it was difficult. She had to simplify her thoughts, and her English sentences were much shorter than her thoughts in Italian. But over time, she became used to thinking in English, and it significantly improved her speaking skills. I was inspired by her story and knew I wanted to try thinking aloud myself. So, what did I learn from all of this? The key to mastering a language isn't just studying textbooks or memorizing vocabulary lists. It's about immersing yourself in the language, practicing every day, and finding methods that work for you, whether it's reading, shadowing, thinking aloud, or speaking with others. Every small effort counts. And as I continued my journey, I realized that learning English wasn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It was about building confidence, forming connections, and being brave enough to make mistakes and learn from them. I'm so grateful for my teacher and the wonderful experiences I've had in London. I've come a long way, and the journey has been amazing. So, if you're learning English, don't be afraid to try new techniques. Speak up, listen carefully, and practice every day. You'll get there just like I did.